Biden accused of altering Social Security funding, and when you hear terms like Social Security, bank collapse, federal government bailouts, and in the shredder, it just doesn't leave you with a nice warm and fuzzy feeling, if you know what I mean. And the Wall Street Journal expressed its concerns in a recent editorial titled, "Fear over Social Security's future leads some to claim retirement benefits early," and share some rather shocking information about how some Americans are claiming Social Security years before full retirement age out of fear that their benefits will be cut once the program runs short on cash. And they say they want to get as much in benefits as they can before the 2034 deadline. And the reason for that is because that is when the retirement program is projected to deplete its reserves, triggering a massive cut to beneficiary recipients' checks through direct deposit. And this 23% reduction in benefits will be a very painful blow to many retirees, especially if inflation continues on its wildly uncontrollable wrecking course and we see more government spending by the U.S. Treasury, the FDIC, and the Federal Reserve, all under the direction of the Biden administration, to prop up and bail out or bail in faltering banks as they face possible collapse, and we all prepare for bank runs and losses to investors and bondholders unless Congress acts on this impending doom and redirects funds into the program rather than out of it. I mean, where do you think the money is going to come from to bail out these banks and replenish account holders' accounts over the $250K FDIC insurable limits, like we just saw happen with SVB or SIVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and now Signature Bank, New York? And while most hope and expect Congress will prevent a precipitous drop in benefits, economists and financial advisors generally discourage claiming early if at all possible. Yet, with all the recent news updates and breaking news headlines of panic at major tech-focused U.S. banks being shut down and facing major losses as depositors withdraw billions of dollars in literally hours, and bank CEOs are selling off millions of dollars in stocks just hours before revealing liquidity issues that will ultimately burden all those unsecured debtors who have made deposits into these financial institutions, which are ultimately just loans that the bank then can leverage out by way of fractional reserve banking, as risks for shaky at best corporations just trying to hang on by a thread amidst massive cuts, layoffs, and the threats of a looming recession and being on the cusp of a depression have the potential to fuel systemic risk across all banks and cause contagion. I've been getting a lot of questions and comments from a variety of sources with a specific focus in mind and a resounding message, one of panic, worry, anxiety, fear, and that is, will my Social Security be safe? Are the bank failures and recent collapse at Silvergate, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, New York, and the other banks on the list of top 10 major banks preparing for collapse, will this ultimately hurt me? Will I lose my Social Security benefits? Well, I mean, all of this is happening so fast and one on top of each other, as if they were preparing for this all along. I mean, the FDIC did say banks would collapse on a Friday, and that's what we just witnessed in literally the last 48 to 72 hours, depending on when you're watching this video. So I want to discuss not just Social Security, the banking collapses that have occurred and those that are likely to follow, but I also want to share the latest information about Coinbase and their pausing of conversions between USDC and US dollars as banking crisis turns crypto upside down. Man, I'm so glad I got plenty of XRP and am not relying on these exchanges to wipe me out whenever they get the chance to, and how I've gotten my Hard Assets Alliance account set up and further building out my diversity, security, and cash flow prep. There are 100% free links down in the description below for all of you, and I want you to remember cold storage is vital in protecting your assets, and diversity is key. And almost all the central banks all around the world have been buying up gold like there's no tomorrow. So I've even increased my position to further diversify my portfolio just before making this video to lock in my price before it goes even higher with the news that is preparing to come out next week. And Kitco having just reported that gold prices surges above $1,900 as U.S. grapples with banking turmoil as Biden seeks to reassure the public. And I'm going to add it to my physical gold hard assets and prepare to make another visit to my local gold bullion broker just to be on the safe side. So if you are a first-time viewer, my name is Kevin, and savings, investing, diversity, building wealth through small businesses, trading, crypto, and maintaining a strong cash flow through appreciating assets, passive income strategies, and all forms of monetization by way of creating these YouTube videos and content is what I'm all about, folks. And if any or all of these interest you, then go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Are you wondering if Coinbase is at risk, or if we can trust any of these exchanges, knowing that they don't have the support of the Federal Reserve, FDIC, and U.S. Treasury to bail out depositors like in the case of SVB, SIVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and now Signature Bank New York? Although I don't have the exact answers to all the questions and no one has a crystal ball, what I can say is that I made sure to protect my assets and store my keys offline and cold. Check out the Ledger Nano X cold storage cryptocurrency wallet. I will put a link in the description down below for you to look it up and see how simple and easy it is to add the much needed protection that has become all too real a need for here in just a short amount of time. And I would imagine that in the coming days and weeks, it will be imperative to be well diversified, securing all assets and properly monitoring and maintaining cash flows. So welcome back to the channel, everyone. And as I said before, my name is Kevin, Kevin in all caps, or at Kevin247, or even Kevin Prepper in search. And we have a lot to discuss today about some very important topics. So please enjoy the content that I've prepared, the research that I have done, and the important financial information that I have to bring to you in hopes of helping you to gain access to the most important facts and drilling down and narrowing our focus on what matters most, the truth, as you all work to become better prepared and maximize your chances of survival. So thank you all so very much, and please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana unloaded Sunday, saying President Joe Biden's budget belongs in a shredder and that the retirement age for Social Security eligibility should be raised. Kennedy slammed the president's $6.9 trillion proposal, which was unveiled last week and has little chance of passing Congress, after having said that the only way I know how to improve the president's budget is with a shredder. Now, this was said during an interview on Fox News Sunday. So Biden and Republicans have been at odds over a federal spending plan, with House GOP lawmakers calling for cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit. And the GOP senator wants changes to Social Security, as the president has been reluctant to tie the budget and Social Security together and has taken aim at Republicans who he claims will put Social Security and Medicare at risk, claiming Republican leaders having said Social Security and Medicare are off the table in negotiations. Ouch. Well, that's no bueno. So, while GOP Senator John Kennedy proposed raising the retirement age, and Representative Nancy Mace said that upping the retirement age has to be on the table, along with Medicare and Medicaid reform, and that for people who are in their 20s, their life expectancy will probably be 85 to 90, which poses the question of, does it really make sense to allow someone who's in their 20s today to retire at 62? Now, this is according to what Kennedy said on Fox News. And Kennedy also added that current life expectancy is 77 and claimed that it will continue to go up. But life expectancy in the United States has declined since hitting a high of 78.9 years in 2014. Must be all the climate change and projections from burning of dangerous chemicals like vinyl chloride. And that in the last year alone, the average life expectancy decreased from 77 to 76.1 years of age, all according to data from the CDC. Also noting that life expectancy for Black Americans is also significantly lower than for white Americans. Black men, for example, have a life expectancy of 68 years. Currently, 62 years old qualify for partial retirement benefits, but the full retirement age is transitioning to 67 due to legislation passed in 1983. And after a recent appearance on CNN's State of the Union, Representative Nancy Mace said that raising the retirement age is something that has to be on the table and something we have to look at. Mace then speculated that she, and I quote, won't have retirement funds because she is assuming that Social Security will be insolvent, end quote. So the Social Security Trust Fund is expected to be solvent until 2035, and after that would only be available to pay out around 77% of benefits. Mace continued to say, we don't have to look at Social Security, we've got to look at spending in this country, mandatory and discretionary. And if we're going to take on fixing the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, you name it, then we've got to get serious about it. Mace then went on to say that she does not support raising the retirement age for current retirees or those close to retirement, but rather for younger generations. But instead, despite how Republicans would love to act as if raising the retirement age or reducing benefits is the only solution for Social Security, the fact remains that Congress could change the cap on earnings subject to Social Security payroll tax, currently $160,200, to increase the funds. So on Sunday, while speaking to Fox News, Kennedy took aim at Biden for mentioning in his State of the Union address last month that some Republicans have proposed to sunset Social Security and Medicare as part of attempts to balance the federal budget, and that, and I quote, the problem is that President Biden in his State of the Union address decided to demagogue the issue. And according to the Louisiana senator, said, we all saw it. He basically said, if you talk about Social Security or Medicare, I'm going to call you a mean, bad person. And that just took the issue off the table when the president decided to demagogue it. You can only be young once, but you can always be immature. And I thought it was a very immature thing to do, end quote. So in his speech to Congress, Biden, 80 years old at the time, drew boos from some Republicans when he said some wanted Social Security and Medicare to sunset, meaning face periodic reauthorization without which they would just assume close, adding that Biden said, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy of the proposal, end quote. Now, this is according to the president. After which, the far-right Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled, liar. Immediately afterwards, Biden was widely praised for using the moment to steer Republicans into cheering the idea of social spending. And as we all apparently agree, from which Biden said, Social Security and Medicare are apparently off the books now. We've got unanimity. And Biden has since promised repeatedly to protect the two programs, shaping the threat of cuts as a central campaign issue as he readies an announcement that he will run for re-election in 2024. While on Thursday, during his introduction of his federal budget proposal, Biden used shorthand for Donald Trump's campaign slogan when he said, I won't allow Social Security and Medicare to be gutted or eliminated as MAGA Republicans threaten to do. And the budget proposal, which includes a 10% increase for the Social Security Administration, drew Republican fire, from which Kennedy criticized the $6.8 trillion package, which also includes tax raises for wealthy corporations and individuals and is meant as a position statement ahead of talks aimed at avoiding a U.S. debt default. And the president and his budget took my breath away. This is what Kennedy said. His numbers were extraordinary. We're going to run out of digits here, folks. The president says that his budget will solve our financial problems in Medicare and Social Security, but simply put, that's just not true. Adding that anything seems possible when you don't know what you're talking about. And the only way I know how to improve the president's budget is with a shredder. Strong words, folks. And Republican John Kennedy takes aim at Biden over Social Security funding as the senator accuses president of demagoguing issue to fund and protect program along with Medicare from proposal cuts. So, folks, with the recent banking fallout, which lead to government oversight and bailouts, result in cuts to Social Security? Well, the simple fact of the matter is only time will tell. However, currently, the FDIC, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury are using funds by way of fees paid into the FDIC insurance program to offset the cost of making depositors whole from the collapsed banks of SVB, SIVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and now Signature Bank of New York. However, we must state the facts here and that the numbers don't lie. And eventually we will see a shortcoming and shortfall and ultimate depletion and deficit of the available assets and resources that the FDIC has available to utilize to make these depositors whole, with the likely future banking collapses that we are all preparing for to happen. At least I hope we're preparing for. Now, with that being said, if that were to occur, perhaps maybe we would see some creative accounting and some manipulation and shifting of funds to be able to make these depositors whole. Now, I can't say with any certainty, as I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know the future, that this would include robbing Peter to pay Paul by way of using the Social Security benefits. But I can say that on the current path that we're on, the current trajectory, that there is an expected shortfall coming by the year 2034, 2035. So with that being said, we're going to continue to monitor the situation and make sure that we have the most accurate and up-to-date information, and most importantly, the truth, as well as making sure that we're doing all we can to secure ourselves and not necessarily rely on putting our eggs all in one basket. Diversity is key, folks. Diversity, security, and cash flow. Make more money, spend less than you make, budget wisely, eliminate debt, save and invest. Diversify, diversify, diversify. We don't know what's going to happen, but odds are we want to be protected and have the ability to be agile and be able to pivot depending on what is thrown our way. And with the way that things have been going here recently, that could literally be anything. So if you guys have any questions, feel free, contact me. 100% free links in the description down below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.